So, hello, Germán.
Hello.
You are a senior advisor for Amrop Luxembourg, and you have just joined us here in Luxembourg. You're based in Spain. You have a long career behind you and ahead of you, I hope, with Amrop Luxembourg. And maybe you could introduce yourself.
Well, as you said, I have a long career. It's not by accident. I've spent half of my time working in consumer goods multinational company in marketing positions, and then in the last part leading the Center of Expertise for Organizational Change. From there, I became the CEO of a consumer goods company, and then later on I became the General Manager for Southern Europe in K Group, a human resources consulting firm, and the head of the advisory managing partner in Puiggarí, Spain, and Portugal. So that's me.
And now we're senior advisor for Amrop Luxembourg.
Now I'm a senior advisor to Amrop Luxembourg, and I'm also advising other firms, and I'm also supporting and advising and investing in startups.
Great. So why we are here? We are here because I would like us to talk about the notion of purposeful leadership, about purpose in life, but also in business. So with our colleagues in Amrop at the general level, we have defined the notion of purposeful leadership, which is based on the postulate that for companies to become sustainable, their leaders must have a specific personal leadership. So at the end of the day, companies do not make decisions for themselves, but their leaders do make decisions in the name of the company. And if you have a CEO who makes decisions for the company with an eye on his or her end of the year bonus, then as a company will never become sustainable. How companies can start on the road to sustainability by starting at the top. So my question to you is, how can we find and above all develop inspirational leaders who give their teams a sense of purpose and also a feeling of belonging to something bigger than themselves?
Well, that's a big topic. Look, what we know through research is that first, customers, they tend to look for brands and products that represent their personal values. And employees, in the same way, they are looking for companies that represent their values. So this is becoming a big trend that is affecting to the workforce, but also to the business itself. No? So the question is that you need to find leaders that are able to understand this, that you are serving to a bigger purpose than just making money for yourself, for your shareholders, which is a noble purpose, but it's not enough, because in an intensely competitive world, customers and talent will tend to choose those companies with a deeper sense of purpose. No? So I think that in a short period of time, it's not going to be an option. Either you've got a CEO that understands that purposeful leadership is a must, or you will fail as a company. Yeah? And I think that the key question when you are looking for these kind of CEOs is digging and assessing their personal values. Mm-hmm. What is driving them? What is important for them? How can you ensure that their personal purpose fits with the company purpose? And how do you know that there is a kind of synchronicity between what the company is telling to the external world and what this leader is telling internally in the company? So this sense of integrity and consistency, it's also extremely important.
So at the end of the day is about self-governance of leaders with good self-governance, that will have effects on the company as a whole.
Yeah, I think that we are talking about something that Peter Senge described as personal mastery.
Yeah.
Personal mastery. It's achieving a point in life where you know yourself, you know what is important for you, and you act in line with those beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Along with my colleagues in our 67 offices around the world in Amrop, we are fortunate to have access to very high-level leaders, a member of boards or a member of executive committees. And in discussion with them on all continents, we have come to the conclusion that good leaders are able to align their individual objectives with environmental and social objectives, and also, of course, with the company's commercial objectives, because at the end of the day, a business needs to make money. So how can we be sure at a company level that this becomes the norm rather than the exception?
Well, as I was saying, I think that the trends in the environment are leading the companies to follow this path. So this is going to be a must. It's going to be essential for surviving in the business environment. And you know what? I think more and more, the value proposition companies are putting in front of their customers and their internal talent are very broad and include a number of other elements related with sustainability, equality, and other things that go beyond profit. No?
Okay, so as a company, how are you sure that your CEO, for example, is aligned with all that?
Well, I think that it's a question of assessing very well the fit of this CEO with the company, no? Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? It's not about the professional experience or the kind of knowledge this CEO can bring to the company. Not even a question of purely competencies, no, behavioral competencies. I think it goes deeper than that, and it's all about ensuring that the values of this leader, the values as an individual, the things that are important for this person fit with the values of the company, and there is a consistency between what the company is trying to create and what this individual is trying to create in his or her own life.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So speaking of values, working with these international leaders, we have identified the key characteristics of purposeful leadership, which are courage, openness to learn and collaborate, responsibility, vision, but also empathy. How do you think we can stimulate these characteristics in the younger generation of leaders to move towards a business environment that is more oriented towards respect for ESG?
Well, I think two ways. The first one is many companies have programs to identify high potential talent, no? To identify people in their earlier careers that can get to the top of the organization. I think that the first measure is making sure that the criteria you use to identify high potential talent includes criteria that have to do with the purpose of the company and the values of the company, no? And ensuring that this type of people really bring not only their knowledge, their expertise, but also their personal values and their way of being and understanding life. No, that would be one route. The other one is by creating a strong culture that is stimulating these values. No, and I think that it's companies. A company is not more than a group of people working together. No, it's so important that the context you create around those people, it's infused with the values and the cultural traits that you want to be reflected in your brand for and in your value proposition to your customers. That I think that that is paramount, creating that ecosystem, cultural ecosystem that is reinforcing the values that you want to see represented in your brand.
And maybe one question about what is a company, because we were discussing earlier about the fact that people might have a fake representation of what is a company. They have it as a structure, but at the end of the day, it's just connection between people. And how do you infuse those values in this collection of people that are connected with each other?
Well, I think that first of all, you need to be explicit about your values. You need to declare them, make sure that everybody understands them in the same way. But also you need to make sure that people in their daily interactions, they are embodying those values. And lastly, but not less important, you need to make sure that you are putting in place reinforcement mechanisms that are helping people to behave in line with the values. What are these reinforcement mechanisms? Typically, some of the key HR processes or people-related processes like performance management, talent acquisition, and so on and so forth, but also some other more, let's say, symbolic elements or artifacts that you can put in the organization, like from the layout of the offices, the decoration, the way people speak in the company, and a number of other symbols that are extremely important and have a deep impact on the perceptions of the people working in a company.
Thank you very much, Germán. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and hope to see you soon.
Likewise, thank you very much.
You.